You are Nova Silverclaw, and you just did something no one has done in 500 years. You challenged an alpha vampire for the right to the throne. Alaric Bloodmoon, absolute leader of the Bloodmoon domain, 5,000 years old, unchallenged power for 5 centuries, is looking at you like you've lost your mind. And maybe you have. Because challenging a vampiric alpha for the throne isn't like wolf challenges. It's not a fight until submission. It's a fight to the death. And you're a 24-year-old wolf with no lineage, no title, nothing except skill and absolute audacity. You cannot challenge, Alaric says, voice ice cold. You have no royal blood. No right. Ancient law, you respond, voice firm despite the terror. Anyone can challenge the throne if they demonstrate superior strength. There's no blood requirement, only power. The hall falls silent. Because you're right, ancient law, predating Alaric, predating most living vampires, clearly states, power conquers right. And you just invoked the one law Alaric cannot ignore without appearing weak. You will die, he says simply. Possibly, but if I win, the throne is mine. Those are the rules. Alaric smiles. It's not a kind smile. Very well. In 3 days we fight. To the death. And Nova Silverclaw, I will make sure your death is slow enough for you to regret every word of this insolence. 3 weeks before the challenge, Nova Silverclaw was nobody. Literally, packless wolf, orphan, living on the margins of Bloodmoon domain, doing jobs nobody else wanted. Message delivery, cleaning, manual labor, surviving, but Nova had a secret. She was strong, absurdly strong. Result of rare genetics, wolf born under a complete lunar eclipse, phenomenon that happened once per century. Multiplied strength. Enhanced speed, sharpened senses beyond normal, and she had studied. 5 years observing vampires, learning their patterns, their weaknesses, their rules. Especially the ancient rules that most modern vampires had forgotten. Like the Law of Throne challenge. Forgotten because nobody had been crazy enough to use it in 500 years. Until now. What led Nova to challenge? It wasn't ambition. It was survival. Alaric had decreed a new law. All packless wolves in the domain would be exiled or executed. Lone wolves are unstable, he had declared. Threat to order, removed in 30 days. Nova had 29 days to decide, die fleeing, die executed, or do something absolutely insane. She chose insane. The challenge was made publicly. Throne Hall, 200 vampires present. Nova had entered, dirty from work, titleless, with nothing, and declared, I invoke ancient law of throne challenge. I challenge Alaric Bloodmoon for the right to govern Bloodmoon domain. The hall exploded, laughter, screams, outrage. Silence, Alaric had ordered. Then to Nova, you understand what you're asking? Throne challenge is death. No surrender, no mercy. One of us dies. I understand. Why? You have no chance. I'm 5,000 years older. Stronger, faster, more experienced. I'll destroy you in minutes. Maybe, but ancient law is clear. Anyone can challenge if they demonstrate strength. I just defeated 3 of your vampire guards on the way here. Strength demonstrated. Challenge valid. This was true. Nova had fought 3 guards, century-old vampires, and won. Didn't kill, but incapacitated. Fast, efficient, brutal. Alaric stood from the throne, walked to Nova. He was tall, nearly 2 meters, with coal-black hair and blood-red eyes. Power emanated from him like heat from fire. You defeated 3 guards, he said calmly. Impressive. But I am Alpha. I am 5,000 years of concentrated power. Your victory against guards means nothing against me. Then you should be afraid, Nova replied. Because if century-old guards couldn't stop me, how much do you really know about what I can do? Alaric stopped, studied her. You're bluffing. Test that theory in 3 days. Alaric's second, Dante, a 2,000-year-old vampire, approached. My lord, she invoked ancient law. Technically valid. If you refuse, you'll appear weak. Others might question. I know, Alaric said irritably. He returned to the throne. Very well, Nova Silverclaw, I accept your challenge. 3 days, central arena, fight to the death, prepare to die. Prepare to lose your throne. Nova left the hall, hands trembling, delayed adrenaline reaction. She had done it. Actually challenged the most powerful alpha vampire in the region, and now she had 3 days to figure out how the hell to survive this. Outside the hall, someone pulled her into a corner. Vampire woman, Eleanor, one of the few who treated Nova with respect. "You're insane," Eleanor whispered. "Alaric will destroy you." "Probably." "Then why do this?" "Because he was going to kill me anyway. Lone wolf law. I have 29 days before being executed. I'd rather die fighting for the throne than executed like an animal." Elena paused. "Do you really think you have a chance?" "Honestly, I don't know. But I'm Eclipse-born. Strength vampires don't understand. Speed they don't expect. And I've studied Alaric for 5 years. I know his weaknesses, small ones, but they exist." "Like what?" Nova smiled. "If I tell you, will you tell him?" "No. Alaric is powerful, but cruel. Domain would be better with a leader who doesn't execute wolves just for existing." "Then help me. 3 days. I need information, training, any advantage I can get." Eleanor considered, then, "Come with me. I know a place where we can train unseen." As she followed Elena, Nova thought maybe she had a chance. But even if she didn't, she was going to make Alaric bleed for the right to kill her. Day 1 of training, Elena took Nova to the ancient catacombs below the domain. "Alaric doesn't come here," she explained. "Too old. Reminds him of when he was weak. He hates it." "Good. Privacy." The catacombs were a labyrinth of stone tunnels. Elena had set up a training area, equipment, weapons, open space for combat. "Show me what you have," Eleanor ordered. "Everything. Strength, speed, technique." Nova demonstrated, shifted to wolf form, silver-white, result of the eclipse, and attacked targets Elena had set up. Destroyed 5 in seconds. Vampire speed was fast, but Nova was faster. "Impressive," Elena admitted, "but Alaric won't stand still. He'll counterattack, constantly, relentlessly. Then teach me to defend." They trained for 12 hours. Elena attacking, Nova defending. Again. Until Nova's reflexes were automatic. "You're fast," Elena said finally. "Faster than Alaric. That's an advantage. Use it." "And strength?" "He's stronger, much stronger. Don't try to compete in brute force. You lose." "So how do I win?" "Speed, precision, multiple rapid attacks instead of one powerful strike. Wear him down. Vampires have stamina but not infinite. You tire him out, he starts making mistakes." Made sense. Day 2, Elena brought information. "Alaric has weaknesses, small ones, but present." "Which ones?" "Pride. He underestimates opponents, always. Because 5,000 years of victories taught him he's superior. Use that, feign weakness. When he attacks confidently, counterattack." "More?" "Left side, old silver wound, healed but never completely. Residual pain, he protects that side unconsciously." "Useful." "And he has an attack pattern. High right strike, followed by low left kick, then grappling movement. Always. It's how he's fought for centuries. Muscle memory." Nova memorized. Attack pattern meant predictability. Predictability meant counterattack. Day 3, final training. Elena had recruited 2 vampires, friends who secretly supported Nova, to simulate real combat. "You 2 attack her simultaneously," Eleanor ordered. "No mercy, like Alaric would." The vampires attacked. Nova fought. It was brutal, it was fast, and after 15 minutes of intense combat, both vampires were on the ground. "You have a chance," one said, standing. "Small, but a chance. Enough." That night, last night before the fight, Nova couldn't sleep. Elena sat with her. "Why did you help me?" Nova asked. "You risk everything." "If Alaric finds out, he turned me 1,000 years ago, through debt. I had no choice. He saved me, then imprisoned me, 1,000 years serving someone cruel, 1,000 years wanting freedom." Eleanor looked at Nova. "You're a chance for change. If you win, the domain changes. If you lose, at least someone challenged." planted the seed of rebellion. And if I die tomorrow? Then you die free, fighting, not executed like an animal. There's dignity in that. Nova considered. If I survive, if I win, I promise. No wolf executed just for being packless, no vampire enslaved through debt. Domain changes, for real. That's why it's worth risking everything. Dawn came too fast. Nova rose, dressed in fighting clothes, simple, flexible, no armor. Armor slowed, she needed speed. Elena met her at the arena entrance. Last words? He'll underestimate, use that, and Nova, thank you for trying. The arena was packed. 1,000 vampires, 50 wolves, all wanting to see the insolent wolf die. Alaric was already there, standing in the arena center like a statue, confident, certain of victory. Nova entered. Arena fell silent. Last chance, Alaric said. Surrender, I execute you quickly. Mercy. I didn't come here to die quickly. I came for your throne. Then die slowly. The fight began. Alaric attacked first. As Nova expected, his pride wouldn't allow a young woman to make the first move. He was fast, 5,000-year-old vampire fast. But Nova was eclipse-born, faster. She dodged, counter-attacked, claws tearing his right side, vampiric blood, black as pitch, stained his shirt. Alaric stopped, looked at the wound, then at Nova. You cut me, first of many. He attacked again, this time serious. Full force. Nova defended, poorly. Was thrown across the arena, hit stone wall, pain exploded through her back. See, Alaric shouted to the crowd. She's fast but weak. This ends now. He advanced to finish, grappling movement exactly as Elena predicted. Nova waited. When his hands reached for her throat, she shifted. Wolf form, silver brilliant under arena light. Teeth found his arm. Bit hard. Alaric screamed, pulled arm. Nova shifted back to human, kicked his knees. He fell. The crowd exploded. Alaric, Alpha, on the ground. Impossible, someone murmured. Alaric stood, pure rage in red eyes. Tricks. You use tricks because you have no real power. Tricks beat brute force. They fought, and fought, and fought. 10 minutes became 20, 20 became 30. Nova was fast, dodging, counter-attacking, wearing down. Alaric was strong, every blow that connected hurt. Nova's ribs cracked under a punch. Her left arm dislocated under a grip. Cuts and bruises covered both, but Nova had studied, knew his left side, old silver wound, hurt. Focused attacks there, repeatedly, relentlessly. Alaric began favoring his right side, small but noticeable. You're slowing, Nova taunted. 5,000 years and you can't kill a 24-year-old wolf? Shut your mouth. Make me. He attacked, wild, angry, attack pattern broken by rage. This was what Nova wanted. Controlled Alaric was dangerous. Furious Alaric was careless. She dodged the attack. Counterstrike, claws at his throat, not deep enough to kill, but bleeding. A lot. You're losing, Nova said. Powerful Alpha, losing to nobody. No, Alaric roared. Vampiric power exploded from him, wave of energy that threw Nova across the arena. She hit the ground, hard. Vision darkened, ribs already cracked broke completely. Breathing hurt, moving hurt, everything hurt. Alaric walked to her, slowly, savoring. You fought well, for a mortal, but it's over. You lose, I kill you now. He raised his hand for the final blow. Nova looked at the crowd, saw Elena, saw fear, saw hope, saw wolves waiting for change. No, she didn't come this far to die now. When Alaric's hand descended, Nova shifted. Wolf form, smaller target, teeth caught his wrist, pulled. Using body weight, threw him off balance. Alaric fell. Nova shifted back, jumped on him, hands at throat. You lose, she whispered. Alpha. Never. He tried to push her off, but he was exhausted, injured. 30 minutes of fighting had drained even an ancient vampire. Surrender, Nova said. I let you live, in exile, but alive. Throne doesn't accept surrender, only death. Then change the rule. You're alpha, were alpha, change it. Alaric looked at her, really looked, saw determination, saw strength, saw a wolf who had fought 5,000 years of power and survived. Why? He asked. Why not kill me? You won. Because domain needs change, not more death. You were cruel but also built things. Exile lets you live. Domain gains new leadership. You are strange. I'm practical. Alaric looked at the crowd, saw vampires waiting, saw his decision. I surrender, he said clearly. Nova Silverclaw has won. The throne is hers. The arena exploded. Some vampires furious, many shocked, some relieved. Nova stood, offered hand to Alaric. He accepted it. Stood. Exile, guess exile, she said. Where do you want to go? North, mountains. There's peace there. He looked at her. Govern well. Better than me. I'll try. Alaric left the arena, without throne, without power, but alive. Nova stood in the center, wounded, bleeding, barely able to stand, but alive and victorious. New Alpha, someone shouted. Nova, the crowd began. Nova, Nova! She had done it, challenged a 5,000-year-old throne, and won. First week as Alpha was chaos. Half the ancient vampires refused to accept her. 24-year-old wolf, no lineage, no training, not a real Alpha. I defeated Alaric. Ancient law, power conquers right. I have both. It was luck. Then challenge me, prove it was luck. Nobody challenged, because everyone had seen the fight. 30 minutes of brutal combat. She didn't win by luck, won by skill. First order as Alpha, revoke the lone wolf law. Packless wolves are not executed, she declared in the throne hall. They have the right to exist, work, live, without threat. Conservative vampires complained. This creates instability. Creating instability is executing people for not having family. That ends, now. The law was revoked. 23 lone wolves awaiting execution were freed. Thank you, one said, eyes tearing. You saved our lives. Just corrected injustice. It was the minimum. Second change. Vampires could no longer enslave through debt. Elena, Nova called on the second day. You're free. 1,000 years of servitude ends now. Eleanor looked shocked. You don't need to. You helped me when no one else did. Risked everything. Freedom is minimum payment. Nova smiled. But I'd like you to stay. As advisor, if you want. I'd be honored. Third change, mixed council. Historically, only ancient vampires formed the Alpha's council. Nova changed that. Council will have 10 members, she announced. 5 vampires, 3 wolves, 2 witches, equal representation. Wolves on the council, an ancient vampire protested. Absurd. Wolves live in the domain. They deserve voice, witches too. Nova stared at him. If you don't like it, challenge me. He didn't challenge. The new council was formed. Elena, vampire. Dante, Alaric's second, who surprisingly supported Nova. 3 other moderate vampires. 3 wolves, including Kai, warrior who had fought alongside Nova before. 2 witches, Mira and Sage, who had been marginalized under Alaric. First meeting, Nova said when everyone sat. Problems to solve? Many, 5 hours of discussion about territories, resources, ancient disputes. But for the first time, all voices were heard. This is different, Dante admitted after the meeting, but better. Decisions are fairer when everyone contributes. Month 1, Nova faced first real challenge to power. 2,000-year-old vampire, Marcus, attempted a coup. She's weak, young, doesn't deserve throne. He had gathered 40 loyal vampires. We take the domain, restore order. The rebellion was stopped by Elena and Dante, along with 50 wolves who defended Nova loyally. You have a choice, Nova said to Marcus when he was captured. Exile or trial for treason. You won't execute me. I don't believe in unnecessary executions, but I won't tolerate coups. She leaned forward. Alaric would have executed you publicly. I offer exile. Choose. Exile. Marcus looked surprised. Why mercy? Because governing through fear creates resentment. Governing through justice creates loyalty. Learn the difference. Marcus was exiled. 40 rebel vampires were tried, some exiled, others received community service. You are very merciful, Dante commented. I'm strategic. Executions create martyrs. Exile and community service create people who learn. Month 3, the domain was transformed. Lone wolves had rights. Enslaved vampires were freed. Mixed council functioned. Laws were modernized. But more important, fear decreased. People began trusting government. Trusting they wouldn't be arbitrarily executed. Trusting they'd have justice. Public satisfaction increased 40%, Eleanor reported in a meeting. Formal complaints decreased 60%. Crime fell 25%. Change works, Nova said simply. Month 6, news arrived. Alaric wanted to talk. He appeared at the border, alone, not threatening. May I enter? Nova went to meet him. Why return? To see what you did with my domain. He looked around. It seems different, lighter, less fear. Because I don't govern through terror. I governed that way for 5,000 years, thought it was the only way. Alaric looked at her. You proved I was wrong. In 6 months, you did more good than I did in 5,000 years. I didn't come here for your praise. I know, but you deserve to hear. You're a better alpha than I ever was. And Nova, thank you for not killing me. Exile gave me time to think, to change. Did you change? I'm trying. 6 months of solitude teach humility. He extended his hand. Truce? Permanent? Nova shook his hand. Truce. Alaric left. And Nova returned to the throne she had conquered. Change was possible, even for 5,000-year-old domains. 1 year after challenging the throne, Nova Silverclaw had completely transformed Blood Moon Domain. Before, Dante said in an anniversary meeting, we had 150 wolves in the domain. Today we have 400, because word spread, wolves are safe here. And vampires, Eleanor added. 50 vampires moved here from other domains, seeking fair government. Witches too, Mira said. Our population tripled, first domain where witches have equal voice. Nova listened. A year ago she was nobody. Today she governed prosperous territory. But not everything was perfect. External challenges, Dante pointed out. Other vampire domains are concerned. Young alpha, wolf, progressive policies. They think you're a threat. Am I? To their outdated systems, absolutely. Dante smiled. But they can't do anything. You won the throne legitimately. Ancient law protects that. And if they ignore ancient law, then we have allies. 3 neighboring domains already expressed support. Your governing style impresses. Year 2, Nova faced first external conflict. Northern Domain, governed by vampire Constantine, attempted territorial invasion. Your progressive policies weaken vampires, Constantine declared. Giving power to wolves and witches dilutes vampiric authority. This cannot spread. So he wants war, Nova told the council. He has 3,000 vampires, Dante warned. We have 800. In numbers, we lose. But we have wolves, 400 wolf warriors, and witches, 100 battle witches. Nova stood. Numbers matter, but so does morale. Our people fight because they believe in the domain. Constantine's people fight because they're forced. There's a difference. The war lasted 3 months, brutal, bloody. But Nova's domain won, because warriors fighting for freedom fought more fiercely than forced warriors. Constantine was captured. Will you execute me? He asked. No, I'll offer choice. Exile and your domain becomes part of mine, or you change policies, adopt reforms equal to mine, and keep your domain independent but allied. Why give choice? Because executing you creates a martyr. Exile or reform creates change. Choose. Constantine chose reform, and surprisingly followed through. 6 months later, Northern Domain had mixed council and equal rights. Change spreads, Eleanor observed. Year 3, 5 domains had adopted similar reforms. Vampire Elder Council, governing body of all vampire territory, summoned Nova. Your reforms are controversial, the elder leader said. 10,000-year-old vampire, immense power. They're fair. Vampires have always governed. It's natural order. Natural order where vampires stay on top. Convenient for vampires, less so for others. Nova stared at him. Domains with reforms have fewer rebellions. More productivity, greater satisfaction, numbers prove it works. And if we refuse to approve your changes, then I continue doing it in my domain, and other domains continue copying. Eventually you become irrelevant. The elder considered. You are very confident for someone so young. I'm not confident. I'm right, and confidence comes from seeing change work. After long deliberation, Elder Council approved reforms. Optional, each domain decides, but officially recognized as valid. It wasn't mandate, but it was beginning. Year 5, 15 domains had reforms, half of vampire territory. Real, measurable, permanent change. You started a movement, Dante said. 5 years ago, nobody dreamed of wolves on councils. Today it's normal in 15 domains. I'm not finished. Goal is every domain reformed. Universal justice. That'll take decades. Then it takes decades. Real change always does. That year, Alaric returned, not threatening, visiting. 5 years, he said, looking at prosperous domain. You transformed everything. My 5,000-year legacy was erased and replaced with something better in 5. Your legacy wasn't erased. You built infrastructure, created systems. I just made them fair, generous. But we know the truth. You did in 5 years what I failed to do in 5,000. Alaric smiled, not bitter, genuine. And you know what's funny? I'm proud. Proud that the domain I built now prospers under better leadership. Proud that I lost to you. You changed, really changed. Exile teaches, isolation forces reflection. I realized that governing through fear isn't strength. It's weakness disguised as power. He touched her shoulder. Continue, change the vampire world, do everything I was too cowardly to do. Alaric left. And Nova knew change wasn't just about policies, it was about transforming minds, even 5,000-year-old alphas. 10 years after challenging the throne, Nova Silverclaw was no longer the 24-year-old lone wolf who had entered the arena expecting to die. She was Alpha, leader of prosperous domain, inspiration for reform movement that swept half the vampire world. Statistics, Elena presented in 10-year meeting, 30 reformed domains, 200,000 wolves, vampires and witches living under fair government, 5% of all supernatural territory. Only 5%, Nova questioned. 5% in 10 years is revolutionary. It took humans centuries to abolish slavery. You made structural change in a decade. It wasn't just me, it was all of us. Nova looked around the table. Elena, Dante, Kai, Mira, Sage. Council that had governed with her. You did this as much as me. You started, Dante said. Challenged throne, won, then changed everything. We just helped. Domain had grown massively. 2,000 residents now, 6 cities, prosperous economy, universal education, healthcare system, modern infrastructure. We transformed domain into nation, Kai observed, and inspired others, Mira added. 5 domains contacted us this year, asking for help with reforms, wanting to learn. Then we teach, share knowledge. Change works when shared. But not everything was celebration. Challenges remained. Conservative domains organizing, Dante warned. 20 domains formed alliance, anti-reform. They want to stop the movement. How? Don't know yet, but they're powerful, ancient vampires, thousands of years of authority. And we have justice, and growing numbers, and morale. Nova didn't look worried. They'll lose eventually. History proves unjust systems always fall. Just a matter of time. And if they attack, we defend and show that reform makes domains stronger, not weaker. That year, conservative domains attacked. 20 domains, 15,000 vampires, coordinated, simultaneous. They want to prove reforms weakened us, Dante explained when invasions began. Then we proved the opposite. The war was massive, largest vampire conflict in 1,000 years. 30 reformed domains against 20 conservative. 100,000 combatants, 6 months of battles. But Reformed won, because soldiers fighting for freedom fight more fiercely, because cooperating allies function better than rigid hierarchies, because justice inspires loyalty that fear never can. Conservative domains fell, one by one, and when they fell, they were reformed. 50 domains now, Elena reported after war. Half of vampire territory, movement can't be stopped. Year 15, Elder Council, same council that hesitated 10 years ago, declared reforms mandatory. Every domain must have mixed council, equal rights, universal justice. Declaration was unanimous. Nova watched from the audience. Not as participant, she had refused position on Elder Council. My place is in the domain, governing. But she was invited to witness, to see the change she initiated become universal law. You did this, Elena whispered beside her. We did, all of us. 20 years after challenging the throne, Nova was 34, young for Alpha, but veteran in reforms. 100 reformed domains, she said in 20-year anniversary speech. All supernatural territory under fair government. Wolves, vampires, witches, all with equal rights, all with voice. The crowd of 5,000, representatives from every domain, applauded. 20 years ago, I was nobody, lone wolf facing execution. I challenged the throne not from ambition, from survival, from justice. She paused, looked around. Today, that challenge became movement. That movement became revolution. That revolution became law, and law became reality. More applause, louder. But we're not finished. Justice isn't a destination, it's a journey. There's always more to improve, always more to change. And while injustice exists, wherever it is, we continue fighting. The crowd roared approval. After the speech, alone in Palace Gardens, Nova reflected. 20 years, 2 decades of change, of struggle, of building. Alaric appeared, he visited occasionally. Friend now, not enemy. 20 years, he said, sitting beside her. You changed the world. We changed it. You too. Your support the last 10 years helped. Small compensation for 5,000 years of tyranny. He smiled. But I'm trying. And Nova, thank you, for not killing me that day, for giving me chance to change, for teaching me that power isn't everything. You're welcome, and Alaric, thank you for accepting defeat with grace, for supporting reforms, for proving that even 5,000-year-old alphas can learn. They sat in silence. 2 alphas, one past, one present, both part of change that transformed everything. What comes now? Alaric asked. Now? Nova looked at the stars. Now we continue, because change never ends. There's always more to do, more to improve, more to build. Will you do this for the next 100 years? 1,000 if necessary, because that's the meaning of truly governing, not maintaining power, but using power to create justice. 20 years after a lone wolf challenged a 5,000-year-old throne, the vampire world was transformed. 100 domains, universal justice, equal rights. And it all started because a girl refused to die quietly. She challenged the throne, and in the process, changed everything.